Hello. We have something new and different again this month. We have Lisa Markowski here with us. She's a contemporary mosaic artist, and it looks like she brought a lot of really cool stuff with her. She uses mirrors and all sorts of diverse materials, beads, stone, metal, pottery, and I can see a whole assortment here. What really struck me as a neat approach that I'm really interested to hear about is she really focuses on the color and the texture and kind of builds her compositions that way rather than focusing on the subject and working it from that end. So I think we're in for yet another treat. So come on over, Lisa, and let's see what you got.
Well, thank you for having me. I met Debbie and at the Galleria show, and we were talking jewelry, which is not my main thing. So I'm going to talk about jewelry. I'm going to demonstrate how I do the jewelry, but I'm going to talk about mosaic in general. I will answer questions anytime, so feel free. I originally got started about 10 years ago by taking a class at Touchstone, which is a wonderful place up towards Uniontown, the Summit. And I thought, I can do this. And I was really happy with it, and I just was looking for something. And I hadn't done any art since I was in high school, basically. And just kind of didn't even think about it. You know, I had this whole other life, and then I started doing this. And then I became obsessed. And I've taken classes all over the country. I even took one class in Belgium, which was the most fantastic experience. It was unbelievable. So I've spent lots of time with all different kinds of techniques, and what I brought you things for various reasons. You know, that this was different from that, and some of these are things that don't leave my house, that I keep. So, but I will, trying to think whether I should, let me talk about materials. As Kim said, I use a lot of different materials, but I started out doing everything. You know, this rabbit hole, that rabbit hole, whatever. You know, I'll try this, I'll try that. Everybody brought me all their dishes, you know, and I was like, I don't want your dishes. So as time went on, I have found that what I really, really like is glass. Stained glass of all kinds. And so that's what I've gravitated to. It's my main thing. I can do tile, I can do other things, and I've built, last year I got some grand idea and I built this box, like about that tall, and I tiled the whole thing. It's actually turned out really good for like this plant stand on patio. But, oh my God, building the box and putting all the L brackets, and you know, I have to keep running out to the store to get more L brackets and stuff. So, you know, I've done all kinds of things, but this is where I am now. And I don't have a specific subject that I use, you know, so it's, you can't really say, oh, well, she does this. Yeah, she does that, and then next week she does something else. So, materials, so stained glass. So I brought this glass just to kind of show you the kind of glass that I do. I do not like, generally speaking, a solid color of glass, which you can get very easily, but it's just not so interesting to me. So most of my glass, see, this is, I get a lot of glass from Yakagani Glass, which is in Connellsville, PA, and you can go right into the factory and go crazy.
Did you ever use the one down in West Virginia? The big glass?
Wismar, Blanco.
South of Wheeling.
Wismar, yeah. I have, but I haven't gotten it from them. I thought about going to their sale, but it was the same day as Yakagani's, and anything in stained glass is my second favorite.
Your glass is really gorgeous compared to a lot of their glass.
Theirs is more.
Yours is really beautiful.
Well, I have a lot of glass. It's like a girl can't have too much glass. Part of what I want to show you here is that I like to pick my own glass too. I never ever order glass online, ever. Because you're going to get something that could be totally different colors. It could be all something or other. So this piece, actually a couple of these maybe, I just acquired from, well, it was online, it was on Facebook, and it said there was someone who passed away and there was all this glass. Well, usually that's in Cleveland or, you know, California somewhere. It was in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
I live in Washington.
I was there.
Are you? In that crazy little place?
Yeah, in that little musty basement.
Yes, yes. I think I was the first person. I really think I was the first one in there. So I controlled myself because I just binged earlier. But this piece was like this big, and pinks and reds and oranges are more expensive and are harder to come by. So I took all of the ones I could find. But in this, I've got, you know, completely different areas.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and you can use fronts or backs. So I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but the more colors you have, the more choices you have.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one piece, that's a vintage piece.
Are you listening to all this, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
Cannot have too much
No,
glass.
ever, ever.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So when you go to, because if you have to cut it to make it square, do you have an actual glass cutter? So-
Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about tools.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, yes. Yes, these sheets are generally like, you know, this big.
Huge, yeah.
This is generally the way I get it. That one was actually 3 times as big and I just cut it down.
So
This,
you buy the big sheet?
I generally don't. I generally buy this or I'll buy,
That's big.
it's big, that's a lot of glass. You're talking about like 8 of these.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Depends
when you
on-
go to that factory, you say you want, say, an 18 by 18, they'll cut it and give it to you?
No, no, no.
Oh.
You go, you go around and they have little bins and you pull out what you want.
It's already cut.
Yes. And a lot of it these days is bigger because this is, I swear, the most popular thing going is mosaic. It is booming. And so Yakagani is wholesaling to a lot of places. So when I go there, I don't get as much stuff to look at. But this is Yakagani.
So how much is a piece like that worth?
This piece could be, this isn't, it could be like $13 to $15.
That's not bad.
It could be a lot more somewhere else. I mean, it just depends.
That's gorgeous.
I love the texture on that.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got this, the smooth side. When I talk about cutting, you always cut on your smooth side because it works.
So that didn't come from Little Washington, it came from the York?
This came from Yakagani, but a lot of stuff in Little Washington was from
From there.
Yakagani.
Okay.
At this point, I'm not sure what was what, but I know that pink one was. This particular piece of glass is, when Kim was saying that I started from color, I had no idea what I was really doing, but I love the orange color.
That's pretty.
So I thought, okay, so I'll do daylilies. Then I don't plan much of anything. I mean, it was like, I'll do daylilies. I'll do it on this size board. That's where we start. Then I don't draw. So I go out and Google daylily line drawing or cartoons or, you know, things like that. And it gives me my basic shape and that helps me. So I actually did these on mesh, which is just a mesh. And then I don't usually do that, but the reason I did that is I could just do just the flower, and then I could move them all around and decide where I wanted them, how I wanted them turned, you know, and I could change it. So I did that. And then I thought, oh,
What do you mean you did them on mesh?
it's a alkaline resistant mesh. It's just a mesh fabric of sorts. The holes are maybe less than 1/4 inch. And you can glue onto that, like tack glue.
Oh,
And then I use an X-Acto knife around it to get it really, so it keeps it in one piece,
Oh, I see what she does.
okay? And then when I place them,
Move them
it's small enough, it's thin enough that it doesn't show up.
And what kind of glue would you use to glue those?
I use anything that's inside, which is most things. I use Weld Bond. Weld Bond, it's WELDBOND. It's a thicker, stronger white glue. It's great for inside. Yeah, outside you don't want it because it's water soluble. But I really like it because if something gets screwed up, you can put water around it and get it to loosen up. Whereas if you use silicone or thin set or things like that,
So like goop glue wouldn't work?
I would use Weld Bond. I mean, I'm highly dedicated to it. So then from here, being the person who doesn't plan things out too well, I started thinking, okay, well, I'll put all these leaves up. Well, that became a real challenge. Because I had to do this, and then it's like, well, you gotta have some curves in there. Well, how's this? And does this one connect up to here? And, all this kind of stuff. So it becomes more involved as you do it.
Are those all pieces of glass that
Yeah.
you cut?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything here starts from a sheet of glass of some.
Is the bottom like another sheet kind of like that?
Yeah, so it wasn't this, but,
Well, yeah,
like that kind of a.
similar.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that looks so neat.
But then you get all these colors. That's why I don't want to just use the brown. You get all those colors.
Yeah.
The other
Watch your
thing,
ankles, it might be the raccoon.
yeah, really.
Seriously.
One did walk in here.
Well, they're having coyote
No, I
problems
closed the door,
everywhere else.
so.
Okay, that's good.
I don't generally frame normal framing things. I kind of do my own frame with either strips or tiles. These are pre-shaped things, which I'm using less and less. These rods that I use are actually rods that people use for bead making. I mean, that's how you buy the glass. So, but I like them for just borders and whatever. In here are some it's a rod that I cut on end for this little doojags in the middle. So that is like from this piece of glass, that kind of look. And I do a lot of sunflowers because they sell faster than anything. Yeah, I mean, I don't even have any sunflowers right now. Okay, this is just another piece of glass to show you. This does have some texture on it, but you can flip it and you can use this side and you'll get a totally different effect. You can mix them because those colors went together. So if like this part right here looks pretty cool. So I might start there and say, oh, okay, I'm gonna do something. And I know this green's gonna work with it because somebody decided it would. So it just gives me colors to pull. And then, well into the project when I'm set on this, I'll completely change it up.
Oh,
I won't even do
Are
it.
these pieces of glass, are they sold like specifically for mosaic, or is there some
Stained
other
glass.
purpose? Oh, okay.
Stained glass. Most people, so that's a good point. These are, I mean, you can't really see, but they're for stained glass, but I don't, I need, I don't like to do glass on glass. That's called glass on glass with mosaic. But I like the solid background. So therefore, I want opaque glass or pretty opaque. If I don't have opaque, I sometimes paint the back of it just to give me a solid background. But I try to avoid it because it just doesn't work for me that well. But this one has blues and grays and greens.
That's beautiful.
This could be a roof of a house or, I mean, you don't know.
Possibilities are endless.
Exactly.
Cut it though. Like this so pretty as panels.
You get over All right, this I might have got, I did get this from the sale because they were selling this for the price that she must have paid. So this was $7.65, which it would not be today. I don't think it'd be particularly expensive, but this is a really cool color.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So, so I have some of this.
Did you ever do an ocean picture, like with different shades of blue? Like
I have, but it's weird, the ocean isn't always these colors that we think they are.
Right.
But yes, I've done lots of things. So that's, oh, okay. Now, the other thing is, oh, this is just a piece of Yakagani glass. It's actually part of an end. They're called tails or, you know, whatever, heads and tails. So when they roll out the glass, they end up with edges on it, like when you do a pie crust or something.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes I use these for mountains, or, you know, underwater kind of things. And I can cut it just like regular glass, but it just gives me a different thing, so I have a lot of these too. And they're like this big. Now this, I do try to restrict myself to this stuff. You know, I resist a lot of other things. Now this is Italian smalty, which is a very old traditional glass. And they come in pizzas. So the pizza's about that big, and that's how they make them. They make them in pizzas. They also make Mexican smalty, which is called tortillas. But it's thick, and it's it's just a whole different thing. You can buy these kind of pieces, and you cut it with a hammer and Hardy, technically, which is a hammer, but it's the Hardy is this metal chisel thing, and that's traditionally how you do this, and you can make teeny tiny cuts. It's amazing. This is generally how I get it. It's like little cubes. It's just these cut down. So totally different stuff, very cool. You don't grout it because it often has holes in it, like little bubbly holes. I mean, that's part of the deal. So that's why I brought this. This is my Belgium thing. This is what I did in Belgium with one of the most marvelous people in the world. So this is all smalty. It's that kind of glass. So you get different heights, different textures, just a whole different feel. The pieces like this were, I faceted those. Those are flat, and so actually I have this little hammer thing that you can facet them to just kind of give them some texture. So this was just a wonderful adventure. And actually, I just thought about this. I'm one who tends to work kind of fast. So I got done early. And what do we do with Lisa? We give her some jewelry to do. That was the first time I did jewelry. I'm like, okay, I'll do this. And it's all wavy and whatever. And I said, oh, it looks great. And she's like, I still love it.
Do you paint the background before you lay down your tile?
Right, this,
Like with something.
this actually has a picture underneath it.
Okay.
Okay, I don't generally do that, but this actually has a picture so that I've got some idea. Again, I don't draw, so it gives me the shape.
How do you get your black lines though, or your dark lines in between?
Grout.
Oh, okay.
That's grout, yeah.
You don't grout that?
I don't grout any of this. I did grout this background because this was flat.
What is the background?
It's a thinner, kind of smalty kind of thing that's impossible to get. Yeah, it's impossible for me to find that thin, nice, but that's what it
That looks
is.
so neat with the pink.
How large can you work? I mean, does weight become an issue?
This is heavier. Oh, okay. Good question, good question. Here is, generally speaking, the boards that I use. I do buy these in 3x5 sheets. And I use my table saw to cut them to whatever I want. This stuff is great. It's called Hydroban, or you can also use Wheatie board. It's a foam center, and this has like a fiber on it. The Wheatie board has more like a little bit of a cement coating and a little bit of a texture. So I prefer this. This is very light, and it's waterproof, freeze-proof. I mean, I can put stuff outside with this, and I don't have to worry about it. Wood will warp on you, or can warp on you. So this has worked great. Then what I did is to hang it, which you have to think about first or you will regret it, is these are T-nuts. I hammer these in, I put a bolt through, and on the back, I'm gonna put a D-ring. And so this comes through this way. So it's really very secure. It's held from the front. So that is the board, and that helps with the weight. It helps a lot with the weight. Okay, now, I was doing materials, but I guess this is, I'll just do it however it goes. This was I did a class with this. And this has a very light drawing, an outline drawing underneath it, marking the shaded areas, like the different areas that are darker and lighter. Because if you look at this, the whole point of this class was values and not worrying about what the color is, it's just about the value. So, and my daughter said, why didn't you put some coffee, steam coming out? I said, just let me be. Meanwhile, I don't drink coffee. But this was a very interesting class, and it was like, it really doesn't matter what colors you use. It's, there's blues in here, there's all kinds of stuff, there's little tiles. It was just about the light and dark shadows.
Yeah, but look at the dimension you got on that, it's almost like trompe-l'oeil, isn't it? And that has to do with your
it has to
values.
do with the values. It's the weirdest
So
thing.
you always had to think about that.
Yes, oh yeah, yeah.
Now, is the glass that shiny or is there a varnish?
Oh, no, nothing.
No,
No
nothing.
varnish, no nothing.
Nothing.
No, I had somebody the other day really wanting to put
Oh.
resin onto a jewelry, and I said no. And she said, why did you why would you use it? I told you I don't use it. I don't want to use
Can I
it.
ask you a question?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you kind of have the red background, like almost radiating from the cup.
Well, that's the way I laid it.
But is there, like, that's what I was going to ask you, is there like a method to your madness in terms of direction for laying this down?
Gosh.
Like you're not
Sort of,
making-
like here I'm definitely
making
going this
rows.
way. No, I try really hard not to do that. I'm better than I used to be. Look at how many different colors are in this.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, I try to be consistent with the pieces, the size. Like the sky here is fairly consistent. This is fairly consistent, unless I don't want to be consistent. But one thing you don't want to do is have lines crossing, like making X's. So I try and offset, a row so it doesn't do that. But the reason I like mosaic more than stained glass is because stained glass is very structured. And you've got a pattern, and that's it. That's what you got to do. And if it doesn't fit, I just cut it. Seriously. It's like, well, that doesn't work. Well, just cut it. So that was a very fun piece to do. And I, of course, keep meaning to go back and do another value thing, and I haven't. All right, this is...
Good.
Yeah, that one's good.
I love this. I keep this. I have made some other round ones similar. But one of the reasons I want to show you this is it's round. I have a jigsaw or whatever, what you want to call it, that I can make any kind of shape. I was making roosters for a while, but now we don't do roosters. Well, they're much more work than they look. I mean, you got all the feathers. Yeah. But here I've put tiles around the sides. I just took various gradations of glass. But what I did first was I took this ball chain and I glued it down.
Oh.
Is that what that is?
This is ball
Oh,
chain.
my
People think I lay these little balls.
I
It's like,
know. This is so
no.
cool.
Did you use that bonding glue that you said?
I used Weld Bond.
Well,
Yeah, I put it in there, pretty thick, because I wanted it really set in there. Then, so it may not have been the easiest way to do this, because then I had to kind of go over and figure out how to get these pieces to fit in. So I'd sort of go on top and kind of trace on it and whatever. It worked out pretty well. But this is just a totally different technique that, well, I wouldn't say technique. Now, one thing I started here, you'll see these pieces are smaller, and then they were getting bigger, And on some mosaic online group I belong to, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna cut down those bigger pieces, and people said no. So I left them. You know, I was gonna cut to be more consistent. So these pieces out here are a lot bigger.
Yeah, it's neat.
So it's just,
Now, the base is the same board as the
Yes.
other?
yes.
Okay, can we feel that board there?
Yes, you will. We'll pass it around, how's that?
Yes.
Okay, and I have one more piece here to show you, and this,
Holy cow.
isn't that light?
Holy smokes, I see.
Yeah. Okay, now this one's a work in progress. And this is absolutely about the glass. When I was at the gallery, I had some guy that said, I have some glass. And he brought me 3 boxes of glass. I mean, it's cast off kind of, which sounds good, but you know, it took me like 3 hours to sort it. But this was in there.
Oh.
And I thought, and that's like reserved, you know, I never bought it because I didn't know what to do with it. But my main point here is, any of those glass, once you start cutting it up and moving it, it looks totally different than a whole, you know. So that's what this is. It's just, I just cut it all up. And this is little?
Aren't they all individual pieces?
Yeah, yeah.
They're small.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
How
but
do you
they,
get them to fit?
Yeah.
I cut them.
So Lisa, you take one, cut it, and then measure, get the angle, and make a bunch of cuts and puzzle it together.
What I did in this particular case is, well, in most cases, and I do a lot of mirrors with this kind of a look. I cut like 30 pieces. I'll just chop this whole thing up. And then I just kind of, the way I cut is random. I don't want it to be not random, but it turns out being similar shapes. So I'll start in a corner, you know, find something that fits in a corner and just go, you'd be amazed at how well it can work. And if it's not working, I'll just cut some more. And it's only at the end that I try not
Trying the
to.
pieces.
Right,
to
right, and they'll
lay
go.
however you want.
Yes,
Really?
they will go. I mean, like, and then I'm gonna put grout on it. Grout cures all kinds of stuff. I mean, it really does.
It definitely fit.
Yeah. Now this happens to be a solid piece, a solid color. And I thought, well, I'll just put that on the outside here. I mean, it's a good color for this.
Yeah?
But I used it there, and then I took a totally different piece of glass, and I don't even think I had that much of it, but you can see like this probably goes to there, you know, maybe to there. But I wanted some variation. I have some actually gray rods in here, my ball chain.
Yeah?
And then I won't go into my whole new method for making mirrors because it works better. But then, so I set in the mirror, and this isn't cleaned up or anything, but I didn't like the edge of the mirror I could see. I used to put them in from the back, but this is much easier. So I'm just going to take small rods and just run them around that glass. Then on the top, because I could have done the whole thing this way, and then I thought, no, we'll do something else. So I took this rod and this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, and it will be very hard for you to see, but after much obsessing, I have these little beads that I'm going to stick into epoxy sculpt, which is a putty, which I'm going to talk about later. I'm going to stick them in there, and then I cut some of those rods real small, so I'll stick them on end. So I'm just going to have kind of like a cool little something there. But I don't want that in there before I grout, because this will just become a mess. So I'm going to put those in afterwards. And
So wait, will you lay them in like a wet grout or something?
no, I'm going to put them in it's like a putty. It's an epoxy putty, which is how I do the jewelry. So I'll show you.
So you don't grout everything at the end?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
This is just, this in particular,
Okay.
it's going to have stuff sticking up. I don't want the grout getting all in there. It's going to mess up the whole look of it.
Is that your top or bottom then?
This is my top. Why would you put it at the bottom?
No, I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, it's at the top because that's where my tools are. It will be the top.
Yeah.
It will be the top. All right, that, let me think if there's anything else. Oh, materials, okay. So, in some of these, you'll see little doodads. I use a lot of milliflora, and this is glass, and they're little designs and whatnot, and maybe the only one that has anything in it is there. But you can get it already cut like that, which I don't like because the sizes aren't always right. So I like to buy them in canes. This is a cane. And these also are used for fusing, I mean mostly used for fusing or beads and that kind of stuff. But
It's glass.
it's glass, so I repurpose it. So with this cane, I just, this is.
Do you get a lot of cuts?
Yep. People are like, oh, don't you get cut every day?
Oh dear.
These are not all right, these aren't wide enough. These aren't the ones I use, but I just cut them, so I can cut them to the size I want. And then I put them upright into something. And these end up in a lot of mirrors. I make a lot of mirrors for a couple reasons. One, they're a good diversion from another project, and they sell.
That would be beautiful, like in a guest bathroom or something, you know?
This is, yeah, right, in your own bathroom. Yeah. So this is a rod. I have all kinds of rods like that, and you can cut those on end and put them in this way. You can use them this way, just kind of whatever. Then what I'm going to talk about with the jewelry is this, all of these little things, little tubes, are filled with Filati. Filati is a cold glass. And these are one piece. Let me do it this way. You can see I have two totally different widths. And there's probably, more widths in this. So you've got the color, but you may need one wider or less. What you should technically do with this and this is like ancient times, is cut them and put them on end into jewelry. I have sold a lot recently, so I don't have it. I have a picture of one that's...
Just looking to see if mine has it, I'm like.
Yeah, you're brown at the bottom
That's
and you're
what I
green at the
thought.
top. Yes, yes. Is exactly what I'm talking about. So,
And when you cut, that doesn't shatter?
this doesn't shatter. This actually, I cut, I'm not going to do it right this minute, but I cut, this is a 3-sided file, and you score it and just kind of snap it off. Okay, so if it's thick enough, I can cut it with something like this. And these are what this is a wheeled nipper. And I have a lot of different ones. They work pretty much the same way. They're coming out with several now that are really, really easy on your hand. They've got, the torques or whatever it is. So this is what I use most of the time, and just chop something up. I also, I can do this. Just do this. And this is pretty much how I work. I have tons of stuff right where it shouldn't be. Okay. Now, this is a glass scorer. I like this one just the way it handles. I'm just gonna, so I'm on the back, I'm on the smooth side.
Smooth side.
Right. And Yakagani glass is some of the hardest glass to cut. It does not always go the way you want. Then this is running pliers, and there's a top and a bottom. The top is has a little bit rounded underneath, and so you put it right on the score line, and we'll hope this is going to go really well. Yeah, see, it does.
Oh.
She's a professional.
And it's really neat, just the pressure.
But it doesn't always go that way. Now, I also have a strip cutter, which allows me to make 1/2-inch strips. So I use it a lot. Like this was done on a strip cutter. So I have, and grinders. Grinders are always a good thing. So if you don't want to cut it, you just grind it, make it fit.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a grout line, so some people are very, very tight in their grout lines, and I'm just not that close usually, and I don't mind seeing the grout. I do, let's see almost all the time I use black grout, because I really like the pop of it. This, I'm gonna put brown, like a tobacco brown. And some of the blacks, like this is gray, this really isn't black. Sometimes I just use how it comes black, but I also have black oxide or carbon something or other that I put in and get a really black grout. I also have, of course I do, various grout colorants. So I can do a tinting, I could do like a blue tint or a red tint or a turquoise or, whatever. I don't use that too much because I personally don't generally like that, like a pink thing with pink grout and, I don't like it that way. I like it more popping. But that doesn't mean that sometimes it's the right thing to do. And I think here that I could do black, but I'm thinking, no, I think I'll do brown. That'll more emphasize the brown. Gray kind of washes out. As I said, this is manufactured somehow or another. It has some, and it comes round and flat, and one of these little things was like 10, 12 bucks. So when I make money selling things, I go buy some of it.
Where do you buy that?
This is from a place called De Mosaico in Arizona.
Oh.
But I got adventurous recently, and I'm by no means a professional, but
Don't try this at home.
well, I did.
Well, speaking of, do you have a studio at home?
Yes. When we moved to where we live, I kept moving the wall in the drawings.
Oh.
Yes, and it's our lower level, and it's actually would be a bedroom. So there's a closet. So I put a stationary tub in there and water, and that's like my grout room. So yeah, it's a wonderful place. Okay, so this small tea that I was talking about. I took small tea and cut it up into little pieces. This is real easy to cut. And you can get, so I made them maybe 1/4-inch pieces, and you can mix colors. And I put them in a little cast iron dish and get my blowtorch. Yeah, I know it scares me. And I saw somebody doing this online, and they put it on top of their grill. They opened up their grill thing and put it there, and I thought that's a good idea. So I do that. I put it out there on just on the grates, the grill's turned off. I start firing this up, and then I have a screwdriver, and trying to work it around to get this all melted together. And then the screwdriver you can work it a little bit so it'll hold to some of it. So then when it's totally molten, and it's only maybe this big, even that big might be too much. Technically, you pull that up and then you take like pliers or something and pull this glass into strips or, into
Like taffy.
round, like taffy. That's a good thing. It sounds great in theory. It's actually like, but part of the problem is trying to do it by yourself. because you want to shut this torch off, and every second that you're taking, your glass is cooling. So one of my new methods is to sort of hold it up and just let it drip. And then I only have one hand to do. But in here, and I can pass this around, these are some brown ones I made. So these are kind of how it comes out, you know, like, and sometimes it's very thick, which I don't care. You know, I'll just cut it, I'll get a bigger piece. This is made totally with these.
Oh, that's pretty.
So, you know, I cut them on end and I get different shapes and whatever. This one is to, some people are much more expert. I personally like all the different shapes. I don't need them to be all round and perfect. But if you want to look at them, I can leave it up here, I don't care. There's, yeah, these turquoise ones too. My daughter had 2 babies, so I used the baby food jars. Like, I'll take some more of those before that kid eats. Somebody do what? I'm like, well, I don't know. So anyhow, that's Filati that I've done myself. Okay, I think that's mostly what I have to say. I'm going to show you how I do the jewelry. Does anybody have any questions or whatever? Okay, let me move some of this. And the jewelry is very, it's kind of, it's very fiddly, which I don't like. And you're going to have a hard time seeing it, so I'll have to just see what I can do. Those out of the way. And I need a chair. And we'll just see how this is going to go, because this afternoon I was cutting pieces so that I don't have time here to really cut pieces and get this together. And I'm not sure how it's going to go, but if I don't like it, I just rip it out. All right, so Debbie does have jewelry on that I made. And so you can look at that, because some of that's a little different technique. What I use, I teach a jewelry class a lot. And
Lisa has offered to teach us the class too, so I'm happy to take names of people who would be interested.
it has to be like in May or whenever, but, okay, so this is one of the bases I use.
Where do you get those?
I buy them wholesale from a place in Arizona.
Oh, I can say, yeah, we do those too.
Do you get those from Amate?
Amazon.
All right, no, I'd like to see that. No, I want to see it.
Now?
Yeah,
It's a Bible. We do these,
I just want to see the base. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to.
it's we do them for Bible verses.
Okay, now, that's a prime difference.
Uh-huh.
These are deep well. This is twice the depth.
Yeah, we just glue those in.
Oh, no, that's fine. I wanted to see if you had some cool new base I don't know about.
No, it just,
These are sterling plated. I mean, they're nice. I have, well, you can see different shapes and whatever. Then what I do is, the first thing I do is plan out what I'm doing, which sometimes takes me days. I'm like, how long did that take? Well, I've been thinking about it for too long. Once I get an idea in place, it goes pretty fast. For instance, with Debbie, with that necklace, because she just saw the earrings. She wanted something to match the earrings, Okay, well, I knew what I was starting with. I knew the colors I was starting with, I knew the pieces I was starting with. I have, yeah, this one. So this one's actually sold. I had this, and this guy said, well, I want earrings. I'm like, well, I hope I still have the thing. So I got something very similar. This went together very quickly because I knew what I was, which direction I was going. If I don't know, like, I don't know how this is gonna work, but what I decided to do, well, first of all, we always take pictures, because if we don't, we will never know what it's for. Because nothing ever goes back the way you were thinking it surely will. All right, on this piece, I decided to do some stained glass, so I just pulled little pieces of purple with a little bit of red in it, of stained glass. And I am going to, so this is the planning stage. This is where you're trying to lay it out, and it's fiddly because they don't want to stand up. You know, I'm putting these are Pilates, I'm putting them in here. Now,
Is that what those little circles are then?
what circle?
Like those little circles, and you're standing those up, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, those are Pilates stand up. And see, there's different sizes. There's a littler one in there. So you can squish
So hard
something.
to-
This is not my thing. I like to do big things. But I actually am getting into this. All right, so how do you cut Pilates? So a piece of Pilates, that's what this is. This is a flat one, obviously. I would cut a piece of this by just
Oh, jeez,
a
no.
pretty easy score. Then I take pliers, not pliers, but tweezers this way, so I can snap it off very nicely. Yeah, Matey's right. Okay, so I snapped it off and I have this little tiny piece, tiny piece. And one side is straight and one side is not. You know, just, it's hard to get them straight. But it doesn't matter because I'm gonna put all this into a putty and I can put my crummy side down and you will never know. I just have to watch my height for the overall height. Because I try to get them fairly flat, level. But I also don't mind texture. So if there's like millefleurs sticking up or something, I'm fine with that. But that's how I cut this. I only cut it today just so that I could kind of do this whole demonstration. And I changed my mind about 6 times while I was doing that. It was going to be blue, but it's not blue. All right, so, you know what, since I kind of know what I'm doing. Well, all right, so what I do is I lay it out in the form, because that gives me a pretty good idea of how it's going to fit together. And then
Is that when you take your picture?
I take it when it's totally laid out.
Yeah.
Like, here's my
Yeah.
picture. Yeah, we'll just go with this. So usually what I do, I will lay it out, and then, like in a class, I will give somebody another one to put beside it, and they transfer. Because it's a lot better to transfer than it is to try and reconstruct it.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, all right, so knowing I can totally work this out if I don't like it. Okay, this is epoxy sculpt.
It's what?
Epoxy sculpt, A-P-O-X-I-E.
That's not the putty you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it is.
It's a putty.
It's a 2-part.
Okay.
I usually use black, as you will see. I almost always use black. But in this case, I'm going to use neutral. The reason is when I stack these pieces on end, I don't want to see the black through. So I've just decided that we're going to do it this way. But usually it's black. I also have white. I also can color it. I can color the white particularly with oil paint.
With what?
Oil paint. So I just bought some cheap oil paints. And I've done it a little bit. It said to even use toothpicks, so I just kind of dip that in the oil paint and mix it, mush it around. Because I don't make huge quantities at a time. This has a working time, I say, of an hour. They say a couple hours, but, so I just make it up as needed. And you just take the same amount, both of them.
Can you buy that stuff in a regular art store?
Oop.
Like, no?
Not generally. No, you
I
get,
meant the grout and stuff.
a grout you can.
Okay.
Grout, you can get grout from Home Depot. I mean, that's not really a big deal.
But that would probably be just that plain grout color. That
You
gray.
get charcoal you get gray, charcoal. They do have some colors.
At Home
Home Depot or Lowe's, yeah. But, and you want you want sanded grout, no matter what the person at Home Depot tells you.
standard grout.
Sanded, not unsanded. Unsanded, which I've never actually used, is a gooey, sticky mess. And you don't need it. The sand does not scratch the glass. It does not scratch mirrors. It's just fine. But, those are the kind of things that you don't know. And, some guys going, oh, this is what you want. You want that. And it's like, no, that's what I do want.
Grout.
So
All right.
where do you get that stuff?
Oh, okay. So there's a place called Aves, Aves, which is who manufactures it. You can buy it directly from them. You can get it also on Amazon. This is not the normal container. So it comes in 2 containers. This is a 1 pound set, which runs like $27 to $30. I have 4 pound that I bought recently, which is a lot, but I can put it in smaller containers. And I have tried freezing it, which you can do apparently to keep it. So it lasts a really long time. A 1 pound really does a lot. So.
How long does it take before it sets up?
Well, it'll be rock hard by tomorrow. You can't really work with it. I don't think you should work with it past more than like an hour and a half. That's why I like everything set up ahead of time, so that I'm not fiddling around and it's getting hard on me. Now I'm just putting kind of a thin layer in there. And then we're going to take, okay, so I've got a purple strips that I'm running around the outside. And it's hard to get this stuff exactly the right length. So that's why I did these ahead of time, and I actually used my grinder on some of them just to take a little edge off, but I didn't feel like bringing my grinder. Okay, so once you put it in here, it stands up really nicely because it's got something to stand up in. So it's a little frustrating. That's a little frustrating. I don't like the length of that one. Surprised. All right. And I wish this came in more colors. It looks like I have a lot of colors, but
Never the right color.
never exactly what all you need.
You got that right.
Is it sitting on the table right in front of you?
This one, I don't think. I think this one, maybe it is. There's several purples.
Yeah, that might be later.
Yeah, that's a different
Yeah.
purple. It's another thing, make sure you have enough of what you need, because as I said before, these, they're different widths and different thicknesses. It's not that one.
You have purples in that little jar there.
This jar, oh, you know what, this is like the thing I brought to put this together. Yes, I thought, pull all your colors. Sometimes I know what I'm doing, Let's see if I have one on the right side. Because if I don't, that's gonna make me mad. All right. and we save everything. All right, this one I have to take some off. We're gonna hope it works. Because when they're this small, it's harder, and when you're just trying to take off a little bit, it's hard.
Tedious.
Yes, it is.
Wow,
It makes me crazy.
I mean,
but
that's really tedious.
Do you sell a lot of jewelry?
I have been. I truly wasn't making jewelry very much. And I have sold an enormous amount in the past month.
Wow.
Yeah, one dear friend of mine, he loves to buy people presents. He bought 5 sets of jewelry. I'm like, okay.
They're just so different. I mean, very unique looking.
Ooh, look at those.
I know.
Look at that, how pretty.
I know, I like the color. Okay, you're blocking the camera, sorry.
The commenters are saying, nice rear end.
That's okay, because I lost weight.
They're putting little dollar bills on it.
Cut that out, Jim.
We'll edit that part out.
Oh, wait, that's all going on mine.
Yeah, delete that out.
I'll cut that bit out.
I heard there was going to be editing.
It was cropped, you couldn't see it. So,
Well, this is making me a little crazy because I so carefully wanted them to fit, and now it's giving me grief. It won't work there. So I'm usually cutting these as I go. And there's some other little tools that I use.
Do you find this calming and relaxing, or are you ready to like throw glass across the room?
This I don't find as calming or as relaxing as doing the other stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotta put gravel in there.
Do your hands hurt after doing?
Not usually.
It's
Good.
If I was cutting a ton of glass, maybe, but not sure how this is going.
There's seashells. It's really, and they're
See, it's very fiddly. I mean, you just gotta.
You have to be so heavy. You have to be so heavy.
And I'm thinking right now I may end up tearing this out, but
but I get all of the liberal street, people who are running away. I got like 20. Grout this stuff.
yeah, grout. I don't know how many of you grout, but I don't particularly like grouting, but it makes things look cool. I dry grout, which is not really dry, but it's, instead of having a wetter grout that you have to keep going over with, wiping it with water and all this and that, I don't do that. I have a thicker grout, and I do that, and I let it kind of set for a few minutes, and I get it off with paper towels. And I do not use water on it, and it works.
I need to do that.
Yes, you do. Look up dry grout. I mean, seriously, it'll change your opinion of grouting.
I'll have to find out.
All right, now, it seems like it's gonna work. This is one reason why you don't just do it this way, is because I thought none of my pieces, the pinks weren't gonna fit. There's like a blue or purple stripe around, but by switching sides, it worked. And the bases are handmade and in Mexico, I think.
Those are really nice bases.
Yeah, that's why I use them.
Yeah.
But they aren't all exactly the same, so when you're transferring, things don't always work out. But okay, for right now, we're gonna. But yes, this stuff makes me crazy, and what pieces was I using here? But when I get something done, I will tell you this, that this takes me way less time than something else. And you can sell jewelry easier and faster than anything else. So, you know, there's an upside to it because then you can go buy more stuff. Not that I would do that. You know. I can't believe you were at that sale too. Did you do stained glass?
Well, I do mosaic too.
Did you buy very much?
It added up. I would say quantity-wise, it didn't seem like that much, but it added up.
Once I got home and cut down what I got,
Yeah.
I was surprised how much stuff I had.
I haven't done that yet.
Was there a lot of people at the sale? Like,
You got appointments, which was great, which was really great. I was there at 2:30.
wow.
And when did you go?
I went on
Was it the first
Thursday?
day? I don't know what the first day was.
I don't know.
I'm like, I'll be there, whatever
What the
time.
first day was.
Okay, now, this is a big dilemma I'm having, because this gets down to colors. I can't determine what I want to do here. I had white in there, I had white as a rim around, I had white in here, white lines, I had pink lines, and I'm gonna try this dark blue color, because I needed a value. I needed a darker color. So we'll see how I like this. I wanted a dark purple, and I just can't get everything I want. So sometimes that's how life is, huh? Okay. All right, now. And I did this particular style because it was pretty fast for me to do. So what I have is the outline around it, the glass, the navy, then I'm going to fill in that center part.
Uh-huh.
So there's just putty in the center part.
Oh, okay.
I like the dark.
Okay, well, I figured I'd get opinions. All right, then I have a bunch of these pre-cut light purple, you know, kind of a purple color. So we'll see if they fit.
That's a little.
Yes, they're little. They have to be little.
They're little.
Whether they want them little or not, they won't work if they aren't little. And you have to get them on the right edge. So actually, when I do my class, very few people tackle this on edge thing, which I wish they would, but they don't. I think they're, you know, somehow intimidated by it, but it takes longer. But, you know. All right. Now, what I'm realizing, well, let's see. Let's do this first.
That'd be tough.
Did you say you're not doing that?
No, I'm not doing that.
I said the same thing. And here I am.
You're so.
Yeah.
Sandy, stick with your bowling balls.
Shady area.
Dude, Sandy,
What?
stick with your bowling balls.
Stick with my bowling balls.
Yeah.
What are you doing with bowling balls?
What you're doing with your jewelry.
You're mosaicing them?
Well,
Mhm.
Do they pop off? Are you using actual bowling balls?
yeah,
Yeah.
New ones or old ones?
old ones.
Do you put mesh on your ball,
Let me
the
see.
ball first, or you just do it
No, I
right on
just
the?
glue it on.
Have you had them outside?
What?
Do you keep them outside?
They're all
Yeah,
outside in the
yeah.
snow and
And
everything.
everything's worked. You're lucky.
They're
Yeah.
goop. I use goop glue.
Okay.
I used to use E6000, but
Oh.
my neighbor told me
Yeah.
goop is better. But I need to grout these. I need to grout them.
They aren't grouted?
They're not grouted. Oh,
I can't believe you don't have stuff popping off. Because
Yeah.
what I've heard about bowling balls, I'm an expert on nothing but
Yeah?
oil from people's hands and whatnot.
No.
That surface is,
But I'm the only one that touches them.
No, but
The
from
bowl.
all years.
From the old days.
No, I never even clean them off.
I'm just saying, what I'm saying is people,
I didn't know that.
people have had problems with bowling balls. You have been lucky, be happy.
I have pennies on them, I have seashells, I have
Good for you.
buttons. Wow.
I mean, seriously, if it's staying on, I'm not gonna argue with you, but it's just not involved.
But I would like to brown glass ones.
Well, grow them.
Because if you sell them, and people can cut their hands on the glass.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of
Plus, it'll
like,
protect them from the, I can't believe you're not, haven't run into problems.
so I have to figure out what kind of grout to put on those.
Black,
Black?
that's what I would do.
I think I would like that. And if I mix it with water, then I could just wipe it off, right?
Are
Well,
these sculpting?
why don't you go look, this, no, these are dental tools.
That is a dental tool, isn't it? Okay. That's what I thought.
I have the best
Familiar.
dentist in the world. She gives me whatever I want, and she gives me her waiting room. I have had her waiting room for my stuff for about 3 years.
Oh, nice.
And she had some horrible art, and I told her that someday. And she said, well, what would you do? And I said, well, we could do this. And she said, okay. I've sold so much stuff out of there, and I get commissions out of there. It's in Mount Lebanon. I know tons of people in Mount Lebanon. So it's been wonderful. And this jewelry usually sits at her place. Now I'm having what you call kind of a screw-up issue, where something's not doing exactly what I want it to do. So we just try and fiddle around. There's one piece that's sunk in too far is basically what happened. So I have to kind of dig it out. But yeah, these are just dentist tools, which are great, but the curves on them are weird. So some are, you know, it depends on what you're trying to do. I just want that whole little guy.
Did you ever try using the seam ripper?
No, This
It's
is,
like a nice little curve on it.
this is smaller. This is
Well, yeah.
more,
it's-
you know, a seam ripper I think is a little bit thicker. But whatever works. I mean, toothpicks, I mean, whatever works. All right, so there's a part here that's not making me happy. So I'm taking it out. I'm gonna have to. The problem is I'm going up kind of a slope. I've never actually had anyone watch me do this. But this is how it goes. It's like, well, that was going, but no, it's not. The problem is, which is very solvable, is the space is wider than these pieces. So I'm going to take another piece of this and stick it in there to fill that space. And I think that's going to help me if we get the right size. Okay, so that is going to work. So now I've added a light line above that blue line,
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
just because I'm trying to get things to fit right. Okay. And I usually wear glasses. But those are my bifocal glasses. Forget that. All right. So remember, when I'm planning this, I'm having to cut all these pieces. I mean, it takes a while if you're going to do this. Some people when I do the class, just take random pieces of glass and just do these wild looking things. And they're happy, so I'm happy. Okay. You know, it's not really exciting. You can come up here and look at me if you want. I'm gonna look at this, you don't have to look at me.
Just stay to this side and that side.
Oh, yeah.
So don't block the
So
camera.
the function of,
Just don't block the camera.
Jim.
wave at the people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Teeny tiny.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. So I sort of binge on this and then stop. you know? It's like, I'll do this for a while, and I was like, I think I'm gonna do something else. All right. That's why I have several projects going. Because I get bored, and I don't do public art. I don't do huge projects because I would get bored. I think it's wonderful when other people do it, but I like to keep it moving. Some of the craziest things I've done are, I've done some people's houses, and the last one I did was, a nightmare. And I was like, of course I didn't charge enough.
What do you mean you do their houses?
I do a mosaic of the house.
Oh, you do a mosaic of the house.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you just did like a place or something.
Oh, well, I do that too. In fact, somebody has some on the outside of the house.
7 colors.
Oh, that'd be.
Ooh, speaking of 7 colors, I also, on occasion, will do 2 or 3 grout colors. That day we might have different grout colors. Just to kind of vary it up. All right, now my problem now is that, I'll get the right color. This area is narrowing, so I have to try and find a thinner piece of the same color because I've got a smaller space. Or I could cheat. It's not really cheating, but I could cheat and run things this way. You know, like let them go that way. Let me see what I got here. I'm going to do a couple this size. But this is why these different sizes come in handy, is to, fit into different places. And just broke in half. You get used to it.
Yeah.
I use tweezers a lot. I'm not doing it so much now because I know I'm just stacking something, which is a little easier. But and usually I wouldn't do something like this with the top and the bottom. I would start from the bottom and head up and, build up that way. And sometimes I will only put enough of the epoxy in to go halfway up and work on that. And then that's what I thought I was doing, but I think it's going to be okay. And if I get all of your approval, then I'm just going to keep doing it. This is a slightly lighter color. We'll call it ombre. Sorry, this is kind of the boring part, but you can talk among yourselves.
Not on camera, we can't.
That's true.
Sure you can, sure.
Well, does anybody have any other questions about whatever?
What's the biggest piece that you've put together?
The biggest thing that I made, well, 2 things. One, I just made one recently that I thought I'd never sell. Just because I don't do great on abstract, I don't think, but it was probably this by that, I'd say. But the craziest thing I did, which was big, and it was several years ago when I don't have my brains with me. I did a commission for an office and waiting room. And the guy wanted koi fish. And so I cut out 3 koi fish that are like this big. So they're all, you know, out of that. And then I mosaiced them. He did not want the background mosaic. I mean, this is, it's bigger than that. I mean, it's a lot bigger than that round circle. So he said, well, we'll paint it. He had me paint it. I'm like, I'm not a painter, you know? It was crazy, but it was okay, you know?
But it's beautiful.
Well, I still have one because I had to make 4 because he said, oh, look at that. So if you want a koi fish, I will be happy to sell mine. All right, I'm going to try something different from the plan, which is often the case. You'll see that there's a darker color and a lighter color, which is fine. I could fiddle here and try and get the right thing, but I'm not going to. What we're going to do is punt, and these are pink round ones. So I think I'm going to put a bunch of round ones in here. You know, just
And what are the sticks called again?
these are filati, Filati.
Okay.
Those other ones are canes.
Okay.
Is that, I didn't know which
Yeah.
one you were asking about.
The small one is one.
Yeah, filati, yes. And
Do you ever use like beads, like glass?
yes, I do. In fact, that was the original plan here, now I'm gonna use this other thing. Yes, the thing with beads is you have to make sure that they won't get screwed up with the grout. Sometimes the color will come off of them. So I'm in Michael's scraping. Well, I need to know.
Yeah, some of them are just coated, they're not
Exactly,
colored through.
exactly. So in that case, what you can do, which adds another step, etc., is put them in after you grind. You know, just lay them on top. Like if I wanted to put them around this mirror, I would have sort of left a hole there. It's not a perfect way to do it, but it does work. That's all right. That happens too. See, this is really fiddly.
Are you ready to foot you?
This is better than a rug. Because this I can do in front of the TV, you know, and so I have a little setup there and it's not real messy. My other glass flying around has to be somewhere else. All right.
And what was the thick glass called again?
Small t.
Small tea.
Smalti. All right, now. Yeah. I have this tiny little spot, and the problem is, I'm going to end up with 4 instead of 3 pieces, and I don't want 4. So,
trying to do my job and take notes for Leah.
You have an awful lot of jobs.
Only tonight.
Let's try. But this stuff won't really cut you. So my husband walking around on the floor won't get cut.
Do you have pets?
No. No.
Okay, I could just see like this being a nightmare with a cat.
Oh, yeah. Well, people have,
Those shiny little pieces.
yeah. No, I do not at this point in time. Okay, let's,
You don't wear safety glasses doing this, do you?
no.
Rebel.
I do, I generally wear, I have my studio glasses, I mean, they're just glasses. I usually have those on, and when I'm grinding or something, I mean, you know, so I have them on. I'm not totally stupid, but.
No one said you were.
I didn't take it that way, I'm just pointing it out.
We're thinking of your safety.
I know, and that's the same thing as you should wear.
Gloves when you're painting and stuff like that.
Well, I should use gloves with the epoxy, but I don't use that much of it.
I was gonna ask you about that when you were
Yeah.
mixing it.
Yeah, I should wear a mask when I grout, which I do on occasion.
I'm just
Do you?
thinking,
Do you wear a mask when you grout?
Sometimes I'm cleaning up, but I usually use the pre-mixed grout. So
For
I don't
inside.
have to deal with the dust until I'm like cleaning
Okay.
it. Sometimes if it's gonna be a lot of dust from cleaning, then I'll wear one, but otherwise.
But you're using that for inside projects?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I mean, the pre-mixed is not good for,
I haven't done anything for outside.
well, you should, it's fun.
Well, I need to learn how to.
Well,
So do you teach that?
I don't teach regular mosaic classes because there's just too much involved. But I have helped people. I've had, you know, somebody who says, I have this project and I need to da-da-da-da. So I have done that. Mosaic mentoring on Facebook. I'm on there a
I know
lot.
them well, but I get overwhelmed by it.
What's your name?
Donna Lasandak.
Okay,
You probably haven't seen me on there for a while because it's just so much.
I know. But I have learned so much from that.
So have I.
And they're very helpful, but when I do something outside, I'm taking that same kind of board, covering it in alkaline resistant tape, not regular drywall tape, but tape the whole thing, edges, everything, and thin setting the whole thing.
No, yeah.
And I can't use premix for that, and thin set is not my friend. So,
Well, yeah, I've worked with thin set a little bit too, so that's one way you would wear a mask.
I'm at this tiny little, ooh. See, you just gotta keep working. And that's gonna give me 6. I was trying to get an odd number. But yes, I can consult if you want to consult.
Okay, I would appreciate that.
All right. Now, let me do one more. Your name. All right, now. You are all artists, I presume. So,
we are.
I'm gonna pass this around. And I need to know, and this is very sincere. I want you to say whether these dots look good or bad. There's 6 of them, it's not uneven, but it's 2 rows of 3. I don't know, I mean, because I can easily rip it out, or should I stick some somewhere else, which I prefer that not to be your answer. I mean, I don't care if you say take them out, but to say, well, stick one in the middle of those little pieces you put in, that will be not a straight line.
I like it, yes. Being the even number doesn't bother me.
Okay, well, and it's 3 lines.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe that's okay, but I'm really serious about that, because I don't, you probably wouldn't notice it if I hadn't said
Right.
something, but
No, I really like that.
but you see, I got stuck, and that's how I got myself unstuck.
And I like the change from the straight
Yeah.
lines to the round.
Right, right.
It makes it more interesting, I think.
Sometimes I will,
More contemporary.
sometimes I will go up and down and then put some sideways
Wow.
ones and then go up and down
That's more
again.
contemporary.
It just kind of depends.
Yeah.
Now, see, it'll be pretty easy for me to make earrings because I already know what I'm using.
I have,
You know, and I don't have to.
Well,
obsess.
you would call that then, will you use the dots also?
Yeah, I will do,
I like that.
it, sometimes I don't do it as, like this one isn't as close.
I like that.
It just depends on,
It's just different.
It's
You give it a little bit of.
Well, it is.
It
gives
colored
it-
something.
Yeah, it's a little
Yes.
different, it changes the
I like
texture.
That's
Oh,
what
that's
I
really
like
cool.
too.
Yeah. I think because there's three lines, I think
But
that
that's-
maybe is why it's okay.
Yeah, it looks good.
Well, that's how I make jewelry.
Yeah, I know, they're really nice. So now, at that point, you like it now, so
I do nothing.
The sculpt just dries and it holds the glass and you don't seal it or anything from that point. Nice.
I don't do absolutely
really good.
Yeah,
anything.
because I have the
Well,
same thing done.
To go down.
with black in particular,
8 o'clock.
I have to do a lot more cleaning up. That I had a good small layer of putty, you know, epoxy. But if you have more, it'll gush up. Sometimes if you start from the bottom and you have the whole thing full of putty, it'll keep pushing the putty up. I mean, you can get it out,
Now,
but
is
it's,
it done? Like, you'll just let it set and it'll dry and it's done?
I'm gonna look at it real closely first, because once it sets up, it's like,
It's a
that's
nice
it.
taste.
And I wanna make sure there's no pieces of putty
Yeah.
sticking on the
Yeah.
outside.
We should raffle this off.
Who gets the money from raffling it?
Hold it up to the camera.
Oh yeah, hold it up for the folks at home.
Wait,
That's right, they only got
Take
to
it.
listen.
I don't want to be in the picture.
Oh, you don't have, there you go. Hey, hold on a second, let me zoom in. It could be a hand model. Here we go. Thank you.
So because I put the stained glass in there, it went a lot faster. You know, I had less room that I'm filling in. But it's a look, like these, things. I kind of like that name. Now, see, this was because I was thinking about it all day, going, I gotta do something, and was that blue gonna be okay? But I think it worked out, the dark blue. You know?
It's very pretty.
Now these go real fast. This, but I sell them for the same price because it's gold smolty. I mean, it's actually gold on there. And diachromatic glass.
Yeah.
But it's a look I'm going for. I don't need to have 17 million little pieces in there. This is what I want it to look like.
Sometimes you say stained glass and then mosaic. What, is it 2 different kinds of glass?
No,
You're all a stained glass.
you know what, that to me is a confusing question, because I agree with you. It's like, I've heard art glass or this or that. I just call it stained glass.
I was gonna say, because my stained glass is just all kind of flat and smooth, and you have those pieces.
It's a different manufacturer. That's why.
Yeah, and that's down in Connellsville, I looked it up. So I think I'll take a ride.
Make sure, take your money.
That's no problem.
Yeah, okay.
No problem.
But the other thing I would say is check the hours. They
Yeah,
close at
it's
like
on.
2 or
Yeah.
something, I mean, but I'm saying it's not
I
in.
have to find another bowling ball. Yeah, but that glass is really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Yapagani has beautiful glass, and they sell pieces like this for like $5 or $3.
Yeah, they said 667 or something for.
Well, if you get there during their sale.
Yeah.
It's only once a year, I think. so-
It's in October.
Yeah.
I just like to buy stuff that's different. You know, and then it's.
Join the crowd.
It's under my table, on a bench under my.
Well, you know what you have to do? You have to clean, and when you clean, you get all these ideas and find all this cool stuff that you forgot you had.
Actually, when I give it a, oh, actually, I'm going now. I'm moving.
Well, right there, you'll find
The
stuff
glass
that
is
you
out on the porch, and I was gonna try to give it away or throw it. I don't like that thing.
Wait, I think I'm gonna keep.
Tell Donna what time to drive by.
Anybody wants to stay glass?
I'll trade you a couple bowling balls for some balls.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because I have a couple I was gonna do, and I don't think I'm gonna.
I would really, really, really clean those babies. Now, it might be because it's your glue.
Pennies and buttons and, I got enough in my yard.
You have 15 in your yard?
I give them away too. Why have massive rock garden?
But you don't ground them, I can't believe you.
Well, that's why I'm gonna go to Home Depot and get some black sanded grout.
That's right.
Because I got a.
You say Lisa sent me, and don't be like, what?
I learned something. That's-
Yeah, you did learn something.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Good, I'm glad. Well, that's what I was hoping to do, just amuse you all.
That was wonderful.
That was very informative, Lisa.
Good.
Thank you.